You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, it's Zoom the TBT, and today we have Shell Shock Executive Director Nima Omidvar. Nima, how you doing today?
I'm doing spectacular, Andrew. How you doing, man?
Every day is a holiday. We're doing this about TBT. We are actually about 5, 6 weeks away from TBT. We're taping this on June 11th, put that a few days after. Can't wait to get started. Very excited about this Virginia Regional, in fact. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about Shell Shock's history, because obviously this is your second run. You guys did what a lot of alumni teams can't do in the first one, and you did get a win in your first one. You beat the Florida Gators, which is fantastic, going down to Gutter Cats in game two. So what was that first run like in TBT back in 2023?
Andrew, we learned a lot. For those that have never kind of walked a mile in the shoes of TBT, it's a unique deal. It's pro basketball. I've people have asked me what are the games like. I say it's like jailhouse basketball. Fouls are rarely called. They're ripping your arms. The referee's yelling at you, like got the whistle in his mouth, like, yeah, we're not going to give you that call. I mean, it's no holds barred, but it's really exciting, and there's an art to it. There's definitely some scientific parts from a basketball perspective on how to fundraise, how to get a roster together, but there's also an art of attrition within the roster, and how can you keep a team together. We learned a lot from it. We're really excited to be back and to grow and be a staple that will be in this thing annually.
It's funny you mentioned the whole attrition in the roster stuff, because I mean, I've been doing this for years. I love TBT. I've been a fan since year two. This is our 6th year of the podcast. You've been involved. This will be your second run. You've been involved in other things with it too. And it's a beautiful event. It's wonderful. And it's an absolute insanity. Guys, leave rosters. Guys, go on rosters. Guys, don't show. And having a strong organization always helps like make your team a little more viable. So how have you been able to sort of get your organization congealed as you go with the second run of Shell Shock?
Yeah, we really did 52 card pickup. We scrapped and started from the beginning, and had a holistic view of what's going to make our fans happy, which is important. How do we serve all the former players, not just the guys that step out on the court? And then how can we benefit our community and the athletic department? And so, with that in mind, we kind of built off of several different lanes, and people stay in their lanes, but we all are going very fast in our lanes. David Neal is the president of our alumni coalition. David is bringing everyone together that has ever worn the uniform and helping connect dots off the court, so that we have unity, a legacy that is being built within the bloodlines of Terps. We have a business lane that's being headed up by Matt Rado. Matt played in the 90s, has been a successful businessman, has had a recent exit out of his company, so he's got a little bit of extra time. Is
That
getting
helps.
that does help. Is getting into the basketball space with the brand new facility that he's building in the Raleigh area where he's from. But he's really done a great job of putting us in a great organized manner from a business perspective. We've got an executive team, which I'm heading up, that also features interns from our sports management school and our business school within the University of Maryland. And then obviously we've got front office personnel and then the coaching. We felt that as we really evaluated other pro organizations, that this would give us the best chance for long-term success and growth. And we're now seeing some of the fruits of those labor by letting the world know about our new coaching changes, our new front office additions, which we're really excited about.
What makes that interesting answer so interesting, also what makes TBT as it's grown exponentially the last few years so interesting is like TBT started off and as a very and people who listen to the show know what TBT is, obviously, or they wouldn't be here otherwise. But it started off as a very sort of a dream in the eye, two guys and a little bit of money, and let's just give it a run. And as it's gotten bigger, the anti-cost, the way of getting in as far as blood, sweat, and tears has gotten higher and higher. I've always been partial to the I call lovingly the bozo teams, the guys who just scrap and get in. And we're always going to have some of those teams. We have a lot of them. Some of them made deep runs in this tournament. In fact, a couple made last year who weren't teams you saw coming. But the raised ante does mean you have to keep leveling up the organization if you want to be a year-to-year contender. So with that in mind, I saw that you added Mo Smith, who is the mastermind of Team Diesel, of Gutter Cats. Worth mentioning, Gutter Cats ended your first run actually on the other bench in Louisville. So what's it like welcoming the enemy, be it a well-qualified one, into the henhouse?
Those of us in basketball circles in the DMV know that Mo is one of the best connectors and problem solvers in our space. He dabbles in more than just basketball. He dabbles in entertainment, in NFL, NBA, college, obviously, all the above. But for us to be at our absolute best, we know based on the available talent pool for University of Maryland, we've got guys that are in NBA, can't have them. We've got a lot of fringe NBA guys. It's hard to get them because of how much money they make and just the stresses on their career. And then we've got a backyard of talent that we should be able to tap into because in the grand scheme of things, we're competing for $1 million. And if I can't have this guy over here, then I'd rather have that guy over there. Like we got to go get that guy. So we're not being shy about that. We identified Mo as the ideal candidate to be our director of pro personnel as one of our GMs. We do have three GMs, Travis Garrison and Sean Mosley being the other two that are really tasked with helping us with all the Terp pros. Travis being from the DMV, from the DC DMV area, Sean being from Baltimore. But we also want to just give the service and give more to these guys that wore the uniform. But having Mo is a cheat code. It really helps us. We know that what he's been able to accomplish, and obviously what we want to accomplish is what he wants to accomplish. Win it all. Mo's been a part of some great teams, some number one seeds, but has not won it all yet. So us joining forces together, we hope that we can make that happen.
They've gotten really close too. Those Gutter Cat teams were really good. I remember Brendan Foreman was one of the GMs with him on some of those teams, some really high quality stuff. They had some deep runs. So adding him is a huge coup for any organizations. That's a big add you guys have made. You talk a little bit about it takes an army of people identifying pros. And one thing I always find interesting about the way TBT has evolved, you mentioned yourself, the NBA players versus the trying to make the NBA players versus the people who are securely making a great living overseas, who are still great players. And that's really the meat and potatoes of where a TBT roster comes up. So in roster construction, I know your team is still a little light of players being announced. I understand that. You're still trying to keep it close to the best. But like, what are you looking for in a player? And how are you navigating the abutment of the summer league, which ends during TBT? Like, how are you navigating the dual pressures of summer league and rest for players who don't do summer league versus the tightened schedule of how to recruit?
Yeah, that's a really insightful question. I think this is important for fans of all alumni schools to like understand this. You got your roster deadline, which at the time that we're taping from right now, it's from 48 hours from today.
Oh, wow.
So we have to have 8 players submitted by TBT rules. If any of those 8 don't show, then that spot is gone. Okay. And so we have to know that these 8 are unequivocally gonna be available. Otherwise, that spot's gonna be wasted. And as we've discussed internally, we need 16 yeses to end up with 8 players because we think that there's generally about a 50% attrition from the players that commit to players that show up. So that being said, within our initial 8, we're going to have a handful of Terps and a handful of non-Terps. And so that's kind of our strategy and plan. I won't divulge all the names, but I will tell you, and this is breaking news. But we're gonna have some guys coming back like Daryl Morcell, who made our Elam ending shot against Gatorverse, loves being part of anything Maryland. For 2 years, he and I have been communicating. I mean, he is team captain through and through. He's back. Xavier Green, who was a big piece to our win against Gatorverse, but also had a great showing against Gutter Cats. Has played overseas. 2 years ago was in Norway. This past year was in Finland and Switzerland. Um, he's back. And then LG Gill, who was another guy that made the game-winning stop for us against Gatorverse. For anyone who remembers the game, I obviously do because it was so exciting to be part of that. We switched 1 through 5 that last possession. He was the 5 man. He made a great play, contested the shot. They missed it. We get the rebound. We push it. Game over. So that was important for us to establish a core set of Terps. But again, we're not going to be afraid to go get some non-Terps. Now, some of those non-Terps are going to have some Maryland connections in one way, shape, or form. That's going to be something that we'll let kind of play out over the next 48 hours. But breaking news, Andrew, you got a handful of our commitments there on Zoom TBT, so you got a little glimpse of that. In terms of the intangibles of the player, Juan is now the coach. Juan Dixon, I don't think we mentioned that. Juan Dixon is going to be the head coach of Shell Shock. Excited about that. Obviously, when you talk about the Mount Rushmore of the University of Maryland, just in general, not just any basketball, just period. Mount Rushmore. Juan is on that list. For him to be able to take the reins as the coach, he is an accomplished coach. I don't know how many Division I head coaches are actively in TBT. I know guys like Rob Jones have done it in the past, but I don't know how many are left in this year. But here's a guy that's had Division I head coaching experience, has obviously been in the pros. We're really thrilled that he is going to be the face of the program and somebody that can lead us and garner some more excitement and will help with some of the fundraising efforts that we need. But he and I are in lockstep, as is everyone in our front office. We need toughness, we need shot making, and we need selflessness because this is going to be a 2 to 3 week roller coaster, and everyone's going to be have to buy into the role that Juan establishes for them.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because like we were going to get to Juan in a minute because Juan is that's an incredible having Juan Dixon who is if there's Mount Rushmore of Maryland basketball, he's obviously there. Literally the best player in the championship team. I mean, what else can you ask for, right? But it's interesting because you bring him on and we're getting into sort of a reemergence of Maryland basketball the last few years. It's gotten a lot better. Again, it's become a national force again. And how can Shell Shock dovetail recent success with the reemergence of Maryland as a national brand and sort of like merge that sort of synergy into making Shell Shock have some of that tailwind, both taking some energy and giving some back to the main program?
Sure. I mean, so as a college coach that we all deal with the new world of NIL, you start to, put your entrepreneur hat on and you start figuring out different ways to generate revenue for your athletic department. What I know as a glimpse as a Maryland graduate that didn't play at Maryland, but also got to coach at Maryland, and I interact with all these guys. Anytime I tell a friend or a family member, hey, I just got off the phone with Joe Smith. Hey, I just got off the phone with Walt Williams, Keith Gatlin, Ernie Graham. It's always ooh, wow, oh my God, that's amazing. There is a lot of cachet for all of these former players at any of these institutions. And so what we're really trying to tap into is energy and excitement to be around all the former players. Shell Shock is the NIL arm for any former student athlete at the University of Maryland. We're building activations and activities surrounding that to give that type of power and opportunity back to the former players, but we're going to take a piece of all of this and give to the future players. As a organization, we're a basketball focused group. The better Buzz Williams' team is, the better Shell Shock will be. So we want to be part of that solution in raising money for the university, raising money specifically for NIL, and all the while compensating our former players for a lot of the activities that we have planned, which include golf tournaments, celebrity appearances, game watches, fantasy basketball camp. We've never had that at the University of Maryland. All of that will be coming over the next 12 months to our fan base. And that is a big piece to our ethos. While we're happy to accept donations, we're creating business so that the donor fatigue does not extend into what we do. We do not want to cross that line and really kind of wear down our very loyal supporters who we know personally and we know how much they've done to our consistently over the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, it's tough because and the thing about the donor fatigue thing is very real because we've talked about this with every guest is like TBT, and again, it's their sandbox, so this isn't a criticism, but they have upped the fee from 0 to 10 to 15. So their fee has gone to 15,000, which is a fairly large hurdle to surmount for most teams, because this is sort of a extra that a lot of professionals put on their plate that isn't part of their day-to-day work. By doing it a little more organized, are you thinking you're able to build a lasting infrastructure for years of TBT and years of things besides TBT, like outside of TBT is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, the 15,000, we were able to clear that with the help of um, some private funding and then some early sponsors and return sponsors. Shout out to Potomac Pizza. Thank you very much, Adam and everybody there.
Name them all. Name all your
Yeah, I
sponsors.
mean,
We like to give love.
we've
Go. Yeah.
now been able to bring in Parcel Labs, who is a great sponsor of ours. They are, if you want to invest in real estate, that's cool. But if you want to bet on real estate, it's kind of like the stock market of real estate, really fascinating. They are coming in as a sponsor. InRide, which is an app for the ability to sell a car. You go sell a car, you're going to a dealership or a person and you get one offer. InRide is going to give you an opportunity to get multiple offers. And that's very big thanks to Coons Automotive, which is a major automotive branch within the DMV. And then we're doing something slightly unique. One of our all-time great supporters, again, if we talk about the Mount Rushmore of the University of Maryland, another gentleman that will be on that is John Brown, the owner of Bentley's. Bentley's is our favorite filling station in the University of Maryland. He passed away this past year. We've got a scholarship in his name that his family has established. We've got a commemorative patch that will be on our uniform, and we're asking fans if you've ever had a beer, if you ever filled at his station, to donate a buck or two, and proceeds that come in will go towards his scholarship fund as well as helping finance our team. Those are our primary sponsors. And then from there, we're doing, like I said, authentic business. The golf tournaments, we're going to do multiple of those, and we're going to do them all over the state of Maryland. This year we'll be at Whiskey Creek Golf Course on July 14th, which is about 40 minutes from Baltimore, 40 minutes from DC. But fans can expect us to do one in the fall right there at the University of Maryland golf course. We should have one in Baltimore. We'll have one in Southern Maryland, Eastern Shore, Western Maryland, you name it. We're going to touch every square inch of the state because there's excitement to be around all of our legends every single time out. And that's what we want to build and harness. And so together with the whole state, we're gonna handle our former players, have them organized and put their efforts in the same direction so that we can win in TBT while also earning and raising money for NIL.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it takes nowadays with TBT is you have to really have a strong fundraising organization to even get to the starting line, to be honest with you. Speaking of starting line, we talk a lot about business, which is useful because that's a conversation we don't have enough on the show because it is a big part of this. Let's get to the hoops. Let's get to the chorus. So you guys are going to what was the UVA region, now the James Madison region.
Yeah.
James Madison, they haven't won yet. They've had a couple of really close, strong outs. I was there a couple of years ago when they gave Silent Cancer a really tough game. They've been a solid team. Happy Valley Hoopers made the Final Eight last year. Red Rose Thunder made it all the way to Philly last year. They were solid last year. And you've got also Next Era Elite, which is sort of the sort of Big Five Philly team. So you have a pretty strong region now. So first of all, how does it affect scouting when these are so tightly controlled? Like you don't even know who you're going to be playing, and you won't know for a couple weeks still. So how do you scout in such a condensed way against the opponents you'll be playing?
I think Juan has got a great grasp of what's going to come about within TBT. We had an approach last time that, you know, we feel really strongly about in terms of how we're going to scout. We know who's going to be on the rosters. We know some of that will change. We have access to, video and stats. We were able to, even though we lost to Gutter Gats, we set the record in TBT for fewest points allowed in a quarter. We held Gutter Cats at 3 points in a quarter. And a lot of that had to do with our advanced scouting and our ability to really understand who our opponent was. So whomever we draw, and that's a damn good region. We're going to be prepared for them. Um, there's no hiding in any sort of professional basketball, and certainly not in TBT. Uh, ha- Tip of the hat to the Brown Ballers 2 years ago. They beat, I think, what was it, Dayton
I
or
was there. They beat Dayton. That was an insane thing to see live.
it's and that's doable because these are shorter games, so it's less possessions, and you
Nine
just
minute
don't.
quarters.
Yeah, you don't know how think guys are going to react. We don't really have preseason. We don't have training camp kind of like we all do,
Yeah.
but our training camp ain't the same as what a real pro training camp would be. So you don't get to see your team in adversity until you're in adversity, and you're not going to know how that response mechanism is going to kick in. So for us, we're going to be ready to play whoever's put in front of us. We were prepared for all 8 teams in our region last time. We'll be prepared for all 8 regions this go round. We know that of the teams that you mentioned, everybody's got a chance to win in advance, and we have a healthy respect for everybody, whether they're a first year team or a repeat team.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be an interesting region. I think moving it to James Madison is pretty interesting. Now it's not that far. It's about 2.5, 3 hours from Maryland.
Yeah.
So your fans should have no problem getting there. Plus, also because you're a DMV school, a lot of people from Virginia and Maryland both are in the region and fans of the Terps. Is there any future place for you guys to possibly try to host this yourselves?
Andrew, that is our goal. We're not scared about saying that out loud. We want it to be heard. So echo to Terp Nation. We want to host this event. We'd love for you guys to let it be known that we want to host this event. We've seen the impact that it has on the institutions that host. We played in Louisville last go round. Our game in Freedom Hall was pretty empty. Guess what? Louisville played next, and by the time we came out of the locker room, didn't have a
8,000.
place, didn't have a place to
8,000.
sit to scout. I sat in the upper deck
Mhm.
and was just in awe of what was going on as our team left because they wanted to get off their feet. They're taking pictures because the line was so long coming in. That's a big impact. And with this new era, we know what that means. That's revenue for institutions. So with our mission of wanting to impact the revenue generation for athletic departments, specifically the University of Maryland, we want to do everything in our power to bring this thing to College Park. We have a unique setup. We have an ability to do a setup unlike anybody else inside of TBT with a true like NBA Summer League type setup. We have 2 arenas within our one arena, so folks can go back and forth. It also will help with overhead costs for the execution of the event. So Jim Smith, our new AD, if you're listening out there, will be knocking on your door shortly after this event because we got this mission to focus on. But we want to team up and bring this thing to the University of Maryland on behalf of all the former players and help generate revenue for the University of Maryland.
Yeah, I've never lied about. I do this show for selfish reasons, and Maryland's a hell of a lot closer than New York City than most of the places I can host. So I would just like to take an Acela down there and not have to worry about even driving. That'd be fantastic. Plus, you guys could
Take the
co-host
train
with Philly.
take the train the Acela may not stop at the University of Maryland, but
I
we
would
have a
drive. I would
stop
drive anyway.
at New Carrollton, which is a short couple mile ride away. But if you do take the Acela, you just get off at BWI, take the B30 train. We've all done it. Like this is easy to get people here from all over the place, and then whoever's fortunate enough to advance, easy trip to Philly from there. So it works out
Love
really
it.
good for everybody. And it's been proven our area, the DMV, has got alumni from every major institution, specifically the ones that are in this event. They all have a flagship of alumni activity here. And so it'll make a great host.
DC, the DMV area has alumni from every school. They have successful, wealthy, disposable income alumni from every school.
No question.
Just saying, there's people with money to burn.
They'll love coming to Xfinity Center. And let me just say this, College Park for alums, if you haven't been back, shout out to Ken Ullman, who works for and redesigned really all of the city of College Park. Billions of dollars were put into beautifying our town, and it is fantastic. It is a destination. I could not have said that without growing a Pinocchio nose while I was a student there. It has gotten so much better with hotels, lodging, restaurants, you name it. It could comfortably house 8 or 16 teams in a region if we needed to host two.
For the
We can
love
do
of
that at
God, bring
TBT
back
Sprint.
double regionals. For the love of God, if you're listening, actually, this is my pitch. TBT, please bring back double regionals. I would like to just go to one region and get a OD on basketball, just get 16 teams. I know they won't because there's more money to be made of it. I understand the concept, but I would literally kill someone I like to go back to 4 16s.
We
I
can
know it
dream a
won't
dream,
happen.
Andrew. We can dream a dream. Don't worry, I'll tag TBT when you post this, and we'll
Okay,
make sure
well,
they hear it.
let's do it. Let's name some teams. Okay, so you guys, right? Jam, you can come.
Yep.
Let's give West Virginia a break. It's a short drive for their fans from Charlottesville, so let's go or from them. So let's get both West Virginia teams. That's four, right? With good fan bases. Let's get
Listen,
Georgetown back in. Yeah, go
Dog
ahead.
Talk would always want to be back, and
Georgetown.
we would love that. Georgetown would be great.
I think a
Um,
Colonials team would be wonderful. That's six. Let's get GW in. We get them
they,
started.
there's no question. And again, you rattle off all those teams that have that close affinity, but even out of town teams, look, this is a pro hotbed. This is a
Hmm.
pro hotbed, and so you're gonna have a lot of people that want to be in Chocolate City, that want to be in the DMV to play basketball, and this is why the who's who generally have come to our pro-ams and our DC pro-ams have been so good from the Kenner League to the Watts
Hmm.
League to the Goodman League. And so you put all that in a bag and shake it up. That front row will be star-studded with basketball celebrities and celebrities of all kinds coming to watch unbelievable basketball. And I have no doubt about it with the teams that you mentioned. That's a darn near sellout. Lower bowl for sure, which in TBT terms means we're competing with Louisville and Lexington and Wichita State for most tickets sold.
And then you're not splitting the production teams. You're not moving people around. I mean, we should just tag Dan Freeland like, listen, let's just do this next year. I want more basketball for less travel. That's all I want in life generally. Okay, so you've made a case. We've already replanned next year for TBT. You and I have already got a region, so we've done our job here. Um, Make the pitch. Obviously, you guys have an alumni base. You guys have a strong fan base, but make the pitch to the neutrals. Why do people need to get behind Shell Shock? This is the last question. I'm not let you go on with it, but like, how can people support you, or why should they?
Yeah, so the why they should support us, it's pretty simple. This is a basketball competition, but it's also a university competition. I'm proud to be a University of Maryland graduate. I have a degree hanging on the wall in every way, shape, or form, whether it's like we just recently had Kermit the Frog come and do commencement because of Jim Henson and all the accomplishments that he had. But in any opportunity that we can get to strengthen our brand as an institution, that helps all of us as Terps. The University of Maryland former players are unified in their approach and in their voice to ensure that this program remains at the very echelon of college athletics. And so this just becomes another asset to Buzz Williams and the athletic department to be able to do what they need to do in terms of having a great team. We understand when the ball goes up in Big Ten play, 18,000 screaming fans will be at Xfinity Center. They care about that team. But as they get experience with what this is, and we need to do our part, we need to advance. We won one game, we need to do better. And every single time out, we need to improve. But as the fans are getting experience through what TBT is, they're going to love it and they're going to be excited about it. There's nothing else going on in this juncture of the sports cycle other than some baseball, which,
Mhm.
obviously, hey, man, go, enjoy your baseball. But if you're a basketball fan, this is the place to be. And TBT is a basketball purist's dream. So we would ask the fans to support us. We'd happily take your dollars. Sure. We want your support. We want you guys to just follow us on social media at TBT Terps on Twitter, at Shell Shock TBT on Instagram. Tune in and watch us, understand what this is, and just kind of be in tune to how our former players are going to take their position and make this program theirs and build upon their legacy. We know how things were left in the past. That's the past. But the truth is, this is a healthy university, a healthy basketball program, and we're here to put some proof to that with our actions and our efforts alongside of over 45 former players that are aligned with what we're doing in Shell Shock.
That's a pretty articulate and clear answer, a call to action. I really appreciate it. No more Omidvar. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Andrew, thanks a lot for having us back. We're excited to be here, excited to talk to you. Maybe we'll be able to do something in between regions if we get to advance.
That is the plan. On that case, we will definitely have you back, obviously. On that note, thanks for coming on, Nima.
Thank you, Andrew.
And this has been Zoom the TBT, and we, as always, are signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hainer. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.